Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be all about eyebrows. If you guys don't know, eyebrows are by far my favorite thing about makeup. I think it goes eyebrows, concealer, and then everything else. I love eyebrows. I think that if your concealer's on point, if your contour is bomb, if you've got the smokiest, most blended, most beautiful eyeshadow in the world, but your brows are messed up, nah. I feel like that just kind of ruins your makeup in general. I think brows are super important. They frame the face. They're just everything, in my personal opinion. And I just wanted to give you guys a video kind of explaining to you and giving you guys tips on how to really perfect the flawless eyebrow routine for those of you guys who are just beginning with makeup. In this video, I give you guys tips, tricks, methods, all that stuff. So if you guys are just beginning to do your eyebrows and just beginning to dabble in the eyebrow adventure, this video is for you. I show you guys products from drugstore to high-end, all that kind of stuff. So if you guys wanna learn how to get brows like these, or how to just become more comfortable with your own eyebrows and filling in your own eyebrows and stuff like that, then just keep watching. Alright, you guys are super just in my face today. Hope you guys don't mind. But this is what my brows look like naturally. I guess my first tip to you would be to understand your comfort level with your eyebrows. And I know, personally for me, I cannot do my own eyebrows, and I am 100% okay with that. I've noticed that every time that I've personally tweezed or waxed my eyebrows, I take off too much, I take off too little, I end up not liking it, then I go in with the tweezers and just do a hack job on my eyebrows, and I've never been comfortable enough to do them myself. So I always go to a professional to do it. I either go with my aunt or somebody who comes really highly recommended, and that would be my first tip to you, is understand if you can't do your own eyebrows, might as well spend the money to do them unless you're super comfortable with filling them in every day. I like to keep them thick. I do not like thin eyebrows ever. I've had thin eyebrows once before in my life and I cried for about 2 days because I just couldn't stand seeing them so thin. They're just not for me. If you're somebody who likes thin eyebrows, do you. Again, it's really your comfort level. Another tip to remember is your eyebrows are not twins. They're sisters, but they're not twins. So I know that's like super preached here on YouTube, but it's true. One eyebrow, like this is my favorite eyebrow because it's thicker, it's more arched, it's more defined. This one is kind of a little bit more rounded and it's just not as arched as this one. They're both equally thick, which I like, but I just like the shape of this eyebrow better, which I have to follow that shape and kind of mimic this shape on this eyebrow, which is something that I always have to keep in mind if I want them to look similar. Another tip that I have for you is to figure out what products fit really well with you. Now we have tons and tons and tons and tons and tons high-end stuff, and the drugstore is actually really kicking it up with their brow products as well. I've tried a few brow products from the drugstore and there's a few that I like and a few that I don't like with anything in life. My favorite, absolute favorite products are from Anastasia Beverly Hills. That comes to no surprise. She is the brow queen. Like, she knows what she's doing. I own the pomade, which probably is my favorite thing to use on my eyebrows ever. Honestly, it goes a really long way. I own the perfect brow pencil, which as you can see, this one is very loved. And I own the Brow Wiz, which this is my second one. I absolutely love this. I feel like no brow pencil will ever compare to this. Like, this is the greatest, easiest, smoothest, most pigmented. It's just perfection. The thing that I don't like about the pencil itself is that I feel like I literally have to sharpen it every time I use it, which is just no fun. And this always keeps a nice fine thin point, which I love. But again, just find your comfort level, find what you like. I haven't found a brow pencil in the drugstore that I personally like. They all either pull like my hairs off, which I hate. They're all just really waxy, and then the pigment just doesn't really pay off for me, so I'm just not a fan. But I do have powder from the drugstore that I like. I use this one from this L'Oreal Studio Secrets little palette thing, and I use the brown one for my eyebrows. And today I'm going to be showing you 2 ways on how to fill in your eyebrows. The drugstore version, which I will be using a powder for, just so you guys can see how to use a powder, and the high-end version, which I will be using the Anastasia Brow Wiz, because I'm going to try and simplify this as much much as possible for you, and the Brow Wiz is by far the easiest tool that I have found to fill in your eyebrows. It's just foolproof when you use this little guy. It's amazing. The pomade is tricky to use. It took me a while to kind of master it. The consistency is kind of different. It is faster, but it's just a method that is just a little intimidating because you really feel like you're painting on your eyebrows, which is with this, you're just kind of filling them in and really defining them, and I just find that this tool is the easiest thing on the market to fill in your eyebrows. Also, a powder. I personally started using powders to fill in my eyebrows. That's what I learned with. If you guys like this eyebrow shape, my tip to you, if you go get them done, I always tell my lady, clean them up and define the arch. That's what I always tell my lady. And one of the mistakes that I made, and that I hope you guys don't do, is, but I guess you know what, it kind of depends on the person as well, if your hair grows fast, which mine personally grows really fast. I don't go every 2 weeks or every week to go get my eyebrows done, because I have found that by doing that, the lady that I went to would start consistently taking more and more off. I go either every 3 weeks or sometimes every month, and I just kind of keep up with them myself, and if I see a little hair come through, I'll just pluck it. But if I go, I just started noticing that when I went every 2 weeks, they just kind of kept on getting thinner and thinner and thinner. She just kind of didn't follow my shape as well. But when I would let them grow in, she would really, again, keep them thick and keep them in a shape. I don't know if it makes sense to you, but that's what I have learned to do, at least with my eyebrows, to maintain them thick and maintain them the shape that I like. That's what I do, is I go either every 3 weeks or almost every month. And another tip, if you guys have struggled with growing out your eyebrows, I know a lot of people have. I know that I went through a phase where I really wanted them to grow out fast and I could not wait for them to be all thick and bushy again. The thing that helped me was using argan oil. This is from Josie Maran. It's the greatest argan oil I've ever used. It's amazing. I love it. I would take just a tiny amount at night and I would rub them over my eyebrows and I would just sleep and really let the oil kind of soak in and all that. I've heard coconut oil does the same thing and it does wonders, but if you guys have argan oil at home, this is really good for your eyebrows. This is also really good for your eyelashes. I know this isn't an eyelash video, but just a little tip. If you guys want to grow out your eyelashes or help your eyelashes stay nice and conditioned, just rubbing a tiny bit amount of argan oil on your eyelashes really helps. I do that as well too because I baby my eyebrows like it's nobody's business. It's completely up to you if you guys want to use it or not, but that's just a tip that I wanted to hand forward. Okay, so on to the actual tutorial. I'm going to go ahead and use the powder first, and I'll go ahead and use it on this eyebrow. For using a powder, you can use either 1 or 2 brushes that I find work best. First of all, you're going to need a spoolie, which I have this spoolie, which is a LUXIE 201 brow and lash brush. Honestly, if you guys don't want to spend the money on a spoolie brush though, take one from your old mascara that's already dried up, wash it really good, put some olive oil on it just to keep it nice and conditioned, and you're good to go. That way you don't have to spend money. That's a good old cheap way. That's what I used to do, but I'm just going to go ahead and use this since I have it, and brush through my eyebrow. Brushing through your eyebrow is super important. That way you kind of see the shape you're going to get, as opposed to if you had them all kind of scraggling around, you'd really lose like the shape that you want. So I always like to brush through my eyebrow just to lay it where I want it, you know what I'm saying? So I brush through my eyebrow, and then you could use one of 2 different brushes that work the best for filling in your eyebrows. You can either use a flat definer like this. This one is a LUXIE 221 flat definer brush, or you could use an angled one. I prefer a small angled one because they're more precise, and this one is a LUXIE 215 small angle. All these brushes are from their Dreamcatcher collection, which I will try to link down below. These brushes are amazing, but I personally have always liked an angled brush. I feel like it just is more precise. I love using angled brushes for this. The flat definer just kind of doesn't do what I want it to do, but this one does everything I want it to do. Okay, so what you're going to want to do, now that your eyebrows are combed through and you have your brush, you're going to dip your brush into your little powder, and you're going to really focus it on the tip, obviously, and then shake off any excess that you have on the pan. And this is how I do my eyebrow. I start my line from like right here. I don't go from the very beginning because I don't like how that looks. It just blocks them off and makes them look very unnatural and drawn on. But I like to start from about right here, and then I lay the first line. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I lay the first line. And then I just kind of push the color back and up. I don't just push it straight back. I kind of, at the angle, push the color up into my eyebrows. Okay, then I go ahead and grab more and then move it towards my tail, and then this is where I just curve the color in. and define the tail just like that. I don't know if you guys can see. Defining the brow by the bottom is most important because that's where you want the brows to look super cleaned up, because it really pulls in together your eye makeup and it just really frames the face nicely, at least in my opinion. Once you have your line at the bottom set, you're gonna go ahead and do the line at the top. I go in again from about right here and I bring the color all the way back. Do you see how it's kind of picking up its shape now? You always want the tail of your brow to be darker than the inner part of your brow because it defines it more, it just looks a lot more sharper, and your eyebrows just look a lot more better in the end. So with this darker brown, you're gonna place it on your tail, starting from your arch, just like that. I don't have a really dark brown eyeshadow with me right now. All my eyeshadows kind of have like lighter browns. The one I would usually use though, just for the sake of keeping it drugstore, I used my drugstore browns, which again aren't super dark. But if I was using a powder and I needed a powder to match my brow color, I would use the Naked Basics palette and I would use Faint, this brown right here. It's a very nice deep chocolate mid-tone brown, which is perfect for my eyebrows. But for the sake of showing you guys the drugstore version and the high-end version, I went ahead and just used one of my quad. Okay, and now that you have your line down here done and your line up top done, you're gonna collect the line. And one of the first things you're gonna do right after you have your lines drawn on, because remember we use the powder and powder tends to fall, you probably have like loose powder in your brows right now, so you're just gonna want to brush it through, and by brushing it through you're gonna kind of color it with that pigment that fell, and it's gonna look super natural, which is what you want. You want natural looking eyebrows. You don't want such like Sharpied on eyebrows. And now that you've combed it through, you're gonna see which areas are still kind of sparse and are patchy, and you're gonna want to fill in those areas. So you're gonna just grab a little bit more pigment and fill in those sparse areas. And once you have those areas filled in, with whatever is left over on your brush, you're gonna kind of tilt it to a side and then lightly put whatever is left there in the front. Just very lightly put some powder there and some color as well, so it all kind of flows. And then the last step again is just brushing through, seeing if you have any more sparse areas, and voila, that's your powder drugstore version eyebrow. And I personally need eyebrow gel, and one of the things I think that the drugstore personally killed it in and I love is the Maybelline Brow Drama, which is just this gel that adds some tint, it kind of adds some fibers, adds some fullness, which I love, and it keeps your hairs in place. I am in the shade Deep Brown, and I'm just going to go ahead and set my eyebrow with this gel. The only thing I don't like about this is the rounded brush, but I have thick eyebrows so it works for me. But if you have thinner eyebrows, I would recommend you trimming the tip and keeping it thin. But I don't really mind it because I have thick eyebrows, and then in my tail when it gets thinner, I just kind of tilt the brush a little bit and with a light hand brush through. And that's the drugstore brow. Okay, so now for the high-end brow or whatever, I'm going to use the Anastasia Brow Wiz, which if you guys are wondering why I'm using this instead of the pomade or the pencil, like I said, this is just the easiest 100% easiest, most foolproof tool I've ever found. This is just so foolproof, so easy. It already comes with the spoolie attached at the end. You can wind it up, wind it down, just get it to your liking, and they have so many shades. You will absolutely find yours. Get your hands on one of these. Okay, so enough about the Brow Wiz. We're gonna go ahead and fill in our eyebrows, and again, I just like to comb through it. This spoolie is perfect for combing through. It's nice and thin and it just gets the job done. Now with the Brow Wiz, I do things a little bit differently. With the Brow Wiz, because it's nice and pigmented but not super pigmented, it's kind of faint and it just mimics the color like hair. I'm not even kidding. I'm gonna take it in to basically the beginning, a little bit further than what I use the powder for. And I'm gonna take this line all the way back and follow my natural brow shape. Now that you have your first line here done, you're gonna go ahead and do the line at the top. But unlike the powder, again, I do my line with the Brow Wiz at the arch about here. And then I just connect it with the bottom line. of the tail. See how I have these two lines done? And again, I only started the line from the top, basically a little bit before the arch. I started it right here because I like to then make the line at the bottom thicker but going up, and then I really fill in the arch. And then with the spoolie, I push all that pigment that I really packed on and I brush it through, so I kind of move it around and really create that nice natural brow. And then here, because I packed on so much pigment down here, and I'll go ahead and pack some more on, because I packed so much pigment right here, all I do here is brush that pigment up and brush it more towards the... and then I just comb my eyebrows back and it carries the pigment. The pigment is so smooth. I swear the formula of this pencil is so smooth. It doesn't tug at your eyebrow hairs. It mimics like the most perfect pigment for your eyebrows. It's ridiculous. And then wherever I see sparse areas, I just kind of go in and fill it in a tiny bit. And then I just brush through them, see if I have any sparse areas at the tail, fill those in, brush through the tail, brush through the eyebrow, and that's all I do. And this would be the drugstore, or the high-end. And this would be the high-end brow, and this is the drugstore brow. Can you guys kind of see a difference? I mean, I notice it because this one isn't as dark as this one because I use a lighter brow powder for this, but I could definitely see like this one is just more prominent and dark. And now to set this eyebrow, again, I use a brow gel, and I'm just going to use a clear brow gel. This one's from Cella. I got this in one of my BoxyCharms, and I'm just gonna go ahead and brush this through this eyebrow to keep my hairs in place. And now the step. If you guys watch my videos, you guys know I can't skip this step, but if you guys don't like it, it's totally optional for you. I either go in with concealer or a foundation. I'm going to go ahead and use this foundation. This is my True Match Compact Foundation. It's the mousse formula-ish. And with a concealer brush, this is the Luxie 211 concealer brush. I'm going to go ahead and grab some of this and conceal and really shape my brow. This step seriously perfects your brows. And then I just drag the foundation down here to the eyelid, really blend it out, and they just look so much more cleaner and nicer and perfect. Alright guys, that is the end of this video. That closes this tutorial. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any questions or any concerns, anything like that, please leave them down below. If this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and I will catch you guys in my next one.